Where did the second AD rabbis get these numbers from? Now, the conventionalists will likely point out things like the Sumerian king list and many other records that show the same list of kings and years. The rabbis will accuse a Christian for siding with the pagans and not the Bible. The problem with that type of thinking is that when you look at the Bible alone, is that the last tagged year for Nebuchadnezzar is his 23rd year in Jeremiah 52:30. For evil Merodach, there's only one verse that mentions him, and it speaks of his first year that is synced with the 37th year of Jehoiachin's captivity in Babylon. And for Belshazzar, his first and third years are mentioned at the beginning of the prophetic chapters. So, how did the Talmudists come up with these numbers? Because both Nebuchadnezzar and evil Merodach are short by 22 years, and nowhere does it discuss their deaths in the Bible. Nebuchadnezzar's 45 can be constructed by adding 2 Kings 24:12's reference to his eighth year being when he took Jehoiachin captive. So, since the 37th year of Jehoiachin's captivity was when evil Merodach took over, is that those two numbers can be added together to make 45. Now, this might sound like the Bible has 2 more years than the conventionalist, but it's really not, and we'll soon show why. But for now, just try to track how the rabbis are getting these numbers. So, you can biblically make 45 years for Nebuchadnezzar, but did you see that this leaves Amel Marduk without any Bible verses to now use? And this is where the opposite approach starts to come into play. To get Amel Marduk for 23 years and Belshazzar for 2 years is that you have to use Jeremiah's prophecy as your base. So what's left in the time for Babylon? 25 years. Then they'll state that since the last reference to Belshazzar is in Daniel 8:1, referring to his third year, is that 2 full years can be assumed that he ruled before the fall of Babylon. Then subtract those 2 years off of 25, and you get Amel Marduk ruling for 23 years. Did any alarm bells go off for you there? Folks, they are now guilty of arbitrarily making up these numbers. Well, how so? Because it looks kind of biblical-ish. Their giant assumption is that the fall of Babylon took place in Belshazzar's 3rd year. There is no regnal year or sinking verses in Daniel 5, so they are forcing Daniel 5 to take place in his 3rd year. So the only reason why Amel Marduk is 23 years is because that's what was left over. So if the Talmudists would have gave Belshazzar his 3rd year, then Amel Marduk would have been 22. Or say randomly gave Belshazzar 10 or 15, then Amel would be 10. Folks, they are making up history as it suits their purpose because without the secular records is that there is no basis for giving Amel Marduk 23 years when all that is in the Bible is a reference to his 1st year. But look at the inconsistency that's already taking place in how they choose to slap down their numbers. Originally, they told us to use the referenced years to total for Nebuchadnezzar, but then said for Belshazzar, only use 2, even though a 3rd is referenced. And guess what? They did this earlier as well, when they told us to subtract 18 years off, not 19, off of the 70-year prophecy to calculate how much longer the Babylonians ruled. The point that I'm trying to get across is that they are starting with the prophecy, then declaring how history played out. You can't do that. But sadly, this type of inconsistent and irrational decision-making continues on with their reduced Persian period of 52 years that is directly tied to their Second Temple 420-year view. But before moving into that, did you catch how the biblical length for Nebuchadnezzar's reigns actually lines up perfectly with a conventional list? Because instead of taking the longest time frame with the 8th and 37th years, is that adding their total given factual years gives you exactly 43 years. That shows once again that biblical and Neo-Babylonian history validate one another. And the small numbers are justified, as the Jerusalem Chronicle indicates that Nebuchadnezzar took Jehoiachin captive in mid-March, which is the starting month of the new year. Oh yeah, people. There's gobs of this stuff that corroborates the Bible. Reminder, hit the subscribe button below, turn on the notification bell, hit the like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to visit us at justscripture.org. But in the meantime, stay salty.